All right, this is what we deserve.
This is the absolute minimum we deserve. This is the minimum that the drifters deserve. And I tell you what, Queensland is buzzing right now. The Winter Carnival's well and truly in full swing now. Origin's just around the corner. And I was saying to you, this looks like one of the best race cards of 2024. Full stop.
I would 100% agree with that. There is class from top to bloody bottom, and I cannot wait. And I reckon one of the highlights for me isn't even a Group 1 this weekend, the Fred Best.
Fred Best is stacked with chances. Stacked with chances. Both of us are keen on one at huge odds, and you'll have to listen to the podcast to find out who that is. And I reckon that race is a prime candidate for a Ned's same race multi. What do you reckon?
Oh, God, yeah. 100%. Could even put that horse in a little multi with what some are saying the better the carnival in the last, but you'll have to wait and listen.
Jeez, that's a two-leg multi that'll pay absolutely anything. And I'll tell you what, you'll be glad you'll be doing it with the good people at Ned's, because I tell you what, you can do absolutely anything on that app. And look, if you don't want to listen to the podcast because you're an absolute loser, that's fine, because you can just follow our profiles on the Ned's app and you can follow our bets. So, you know, when it gets to Saturday, open up your Ned's app, check out what we're betting on, and follow us in if you want, responsibly, of course.
Of course. But what are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
I need to ask you a question. Be curious, drifters.
Mr. Brightside fins them up and wins again. Zardozi wins the Oaks for J-Mac. The photo finish. Mr. Brightside or Romantic Warrior. The mare's going. Great guns. Fangirl. Look at her go. Fangirl. Imperatrice has got her. And raced on by Imperatrice by a length.
Overpass. More Baker's Delight in Perth.
Radina just won it, I'd say. Tom Ketton won the spring champion in a cakewalk. Without a fight, won the Caulfield Cup.
Are you okay, Precious? What's happening over here?
This is just me commiserating the Doomben Carnival.
Okay.
This is me just saying, look, it's been nice knowing you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can kindly get out of the picture because it's Eagle Farm time, baby.
Oh, mate, how good is it?
And I'll tell you what, like, the birds are singing.
Chirping.
They're chirping. The sun's out. Hopefully it's out this weekend. It's a terrific card. It's a terrific card. I was saying to you just before the podcast started, I was salivating because this card is right up there with the best cards of 2024 thus far. And we're halfway through the year.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, gee, that's not a bad shout. Like, I'd say Stradbroke Day will probably...
It'll trump it.
It'll trump it.
So it should.
But if you look at it last year, it's gone bloody close because, yeah, last year, Stradbroke Day, we had the Everest winner and the Caulfield Cup and Melbourne Cup winner. Hard to top.
That's really hard to top.
Hard to top. Like, with all due respect. But this year, we have some up-and-coming stars, absolutely. That Fred Best Classic is a sensational addition.
Sensational.
Could be the best ever.
It could be. It really could be. And last year it was a duel between Hawaii 5-0 and Yellow Brick.
Yes.
And Hawaii 5-0 went on to run in an Everest. He ran third in the Stradbroke, of course. And Yellow Brick could very well take his place in the Stradbroke and be probably a 10-1 shot, I'd imagine, 15-1 shot in the Stradbroke. So,
Sorry, did you just say Hawaii 5-0 ran third in Everest?
Ran third in the Stradbroke.
Right.
And he ran in an Everest.
Okay.
Where did he run in the Everest? 6th, 7th, something like that?
Something irrelevant.
You need to think about it. First up, though. Anyway, I'm heating up with this hoodie on. Fucking hell, will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
Well, mate, there's some other things that we need to discuss before this sensational day of racing, which we will be there for this weekend at Eagle Farm.
Oh, with bells on.
Imperatrice.
Yes.
6.6 milli.
Yeah, 6.6 milli. It's just insane. So there was speculation, she should break the record, which is 5 milli Australasian record for a brood mare or whatever.
Is that Sunlight? No.
It was Sunlight was 4 point something. It was Millanova or something like that. Someone random. But anyway. And And I'm like, yeah, she should beat that. Like, she should do. And I was thinking to myself, like, how much did Forbidden Love go for? How much did XYZ go for? And then as the sales started and you see like Chain of Lightning goes for 2.5 million or 2.7 or something like that. And it's like, okay, well, if she's going for that, like she's won a TJ, which is fantastic. But
like Tafane won 3 or 4 Group 1s and she went for 3.2.
Something like that. Yep. And then, Madame Pomeroy goes for 2.5 or 2.7. Huh? Yeah. So that happens during the day and you're thinking to yourself, well, Imperatriz is more than twice the horse that these ones are. So I was saying to a few people in the office who were talking about it, I was like, I reckon she'll go for 7. Like 7 just seems right. End up going for 6.6. So
pretty close.
Pretty close, but the bidding started at 4. Like it started at 4, which pretty much blew every single one who was keen to bid on it out of the water except for you'd think Coolmore and Yulong. And it was and that turned out to be the 2 who were dueling for her.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's insanity.
It is insanity.
For Madame Pomeroy, mate. I reckon she's had 3 good runs in her entire career.
Mate, we were talking about it like CS, Sneesby Racing. So he had a filly or 4-year-old mare, Afterlight, up for sale. She's by I'm Invincible, and I think she's placed in like a listed race before. And she's won like benchmark 80s and stuff like that. All in Sydney, so Sydney form obviously superior to Brisbane form. You remember $500,000?
Unbelievable.
$500,000. So I think 4 career wins in like, let's call it 15 starts. So yeah, would love to own her, obviously, but $500,000.
I'm looking at her profile. She hasn't even done that. Like she's won a benchmark 72. She won a benchmark 64, ran 4th in a 72, and won another 72, won a maiden. So she hasn't even placed.
In black type?
In black type.
Wow.
So you're paying for the bloodlines. So she is...
But I'm Invincible. Is she out of a Fastnet Rock or a Testarossa dam?
Testarossa.
That's what you're paying for. Relatively lightly raced. So you're taking her to see, I don't know, let's say Zoostar, who's $250,000, and you're hoping that yearling sells for what, probably at least 600, 700, 800, and you're trying to do that for the next 10 years every year.
Like 167K in prize money she'd won. Like if we look at our girl, right? Obviously different sire and everything, but the second at Port C has won 156. Obviously out of Churchill. And
not a sprinting type.
In Costa del Lago mare, Bombay. So yeah, anyway.
It's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. I think what we were talking about yesterday in the office is like, I don't know if it's always been like this because I haven't been around long enough to comment on it, but it feels like the top end of town in horse racing is so far away from even the rung below that it's creating like a false sort of economy for these yearlings and for these brood mares that it just raises the value of even the lowest stuff that completely blows like your battler out of the water. It almost feels like there's no middle class now. It's just like your battlers who literally, like us, they're not going to be at these sales, but they're going to get the tried stuff. Or if they do get into these sales, it's a side hustle where they might have a bit of spec change and they do it for the passion rather than a full time gig. And then there's the other end, which is Coolmore, Yulong, Godolphin, big wigs like Craig, for example, who've got the cash to splash. Like it doesn't feel like there's any middle ground in the horse racing game at the moment. I don't know if it's always felt like that, but
yeah, I'd say in terms of like the big players in these sales, it's almost like a Coles and Woolies kind of duo.
Yeah,
like Yulong is Coles. They're not Woolies standard.
They're not
Coolmore or Woolies, and then coming in for third, like who's Aldi? Who's the one coming out of the, Where's the middle aisle section at Audi? You know what I mean?
Aldi's probably like a Widden or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it's incredible. Like, I think it was $50 million was worth of horse flesh was sold yesterday, mate. It's
a lot of cash.
Insanity. But going back to Imperatriz, well, if you're looking at your Forbidden Loves, if you're looking at your Chain of Lightnings, if you're looking at Tefanes and they're going for that sort of cash, well, then she is worth that.
Yeah.
Best sprinting mare since Black Caviar. Then that's what she's worth.
Yep.
Someone's going to pay the money. Good on him.
So, Yulong or Coolmore?
Yulong bought her.
So, do you reckon she'll race in the Yulong Green?
I don't think so. I think she'll be served by Written Tycoon, I'd say. Who he's a sire of Lady of Camelot. It's a recent winner there of the Golden Slipper. Coolangatta, most notably, recently as well. So, and he's probably at the back end of his stud career, so you'd imagine they'd probably get her into him. I've got no idea if there's any issue with the bloodlines crossing over at all. Like, I haven't looked, but like you'd assume.
Yeah.
He'd be the first one to see her.
Okay. All right. Fascinating. Well, on to another runner for the On the Drift stable. The Naughty Boy Counter. He's back. The 12 start maiden himself.
Bad boy Counter. Best maiden in the country. Counter. Racing. Sunshine Coast. Drawn a marble for the first time. Race 4.
Race 6. Number 2. Jimmy Orman. Queensland's best jockey on board. 58.5 kilos. The top weight. 25 starts for 1/3. That for 18K prize money, that's tough.
That is tough.
So Counter, 12 starts, 3 seconds, 5/3, 5 of them.
Yep.
He finally draws a gate, barrier 4, but 16 of them with 8 emergencies.
It's a lot of horses in Australia, mate. It's a lot of horses.
Unbelievable. Sunshine Coast is the track to do it. Big, wide spances, which will suit him, I think.
I think so. I think he's going to, like, 1,400 metres isn't his jam, but I think this is the prep. I reckon he'll jag us 2 wins this prep. I'm just going to say it now.
Okay.
2 wins.
Right.
2 wins and let's say he's going to have 5 starts. I'm going to say 2 wins, 2 placings.
Okay.
Because history would suggest.
Yes.
He places 3/4 of the time.
Yes. Now, Chris Waller, not a notable first up stable, and his stats are not notable at all. And I'm happy to watch him go around this week. Let's put it that way.
Do you know what? He'll pop up favourite in this race.
Yeah, maybe
He'll pop up favourite.
he could.
And he'll be an unbackable $4.
Yes,
That's what he'll be.
yeah.
If he's 8 or 9, yeah, 100% I'll play.
Oh, stablemate, Autumn Nation is in the same race.
Yeah, right.
So 2 in the. I wonder if Craig's had that before. 2 of the same silks in the one race.
I wonder. Yeah, not sure.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Jimmy's on our one, so we'll see. Mate, should we talk some horse racing?
Let's do it.
Race 7 at Eagle Farm, the Kingsford Smith Cup, 1,300 metres, weight for age, Group 1. After, what was that race? The Doomben 10,000. Kieran Maher says, you know what, we're going to freshen Bella Nipotina up and head her towards a Tats Tiara. Bugger that. She's going too good. We'll line back up here. She's about $6.
If there's been a rain around, which there looks to be,
It's silly not to.
It's silly not to. This is one of the best Group 1s of the year.
It's good, isn't it?
Like, it's a really good race. It's not a TJ Smith, but I'm not thinking that TJ Smith's much better than this.
No. And it's like, you don't need these massive size fields, 12 runners. There's enough, and there's some local hopes here as well. Some alternative form lines like Tuvalu's come back into a little rich vein of form. Think about it's finally back to a sprinting trip where he arguably had his best run of the prep. First up over the 1,300 metres as well. So, fascinating. I wish I win. Nolan back on.
Draws gate 1 again.
Yeah. I don't know. $3.80. Getting a little bit more backable than the $2 last time.
Fascinating race. I was trying to sort of map it, and I had a really tough time mapping it. Tuvalu rolls forward, but it's not like he goes at a blistering pace.
No.
So I'm thinking, is it going to be a bit of a
Sit and
sprintish?
Maybe.
But there's a few out who've drawn out wide who I think would probably want to try and be prominent. And Think About It's the one that comes to mind, because we've seen him. He has his best runs when he draws a gate and he can be in a prominent position, and he's got a bit of bulldog about him. He's not a turn of foot horse. He's a
grind
him down. So I think from that gate, he's probably close enough with Blake Shin on to probably find a spot just behind Tuvalu, I'd imagine. Like, I think he's probably gonna just about get the run of the race. Think about it. But there's just something about him which isn't filling me with a lot of confidence.
No, because when he went through that unbelievable streak of just wins,
Yeah.
he was winning all his trials as well.
He really was.
Last year, he went through the entire year undefeated, trials and on race day. So now that's obviously quite a high, pardon the pun, Everest to come down from.
Yeah.
But he went down in the Gigi Kick Stakes, but basically apart from that, he was like undefeated. So I need to see him do it again.
I'm happy to not be on him.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
And $7 if you like him, I think that's a fair enough price to, because he's
For an Everest winner.
Yeah, he's a bloody good horse. Won this race last year.
Well, what did he start in a Canterbury Stakes first up?
He was $2.20.
This is a harder race than that.
Only beaten 1.5 lengths, but to Lady Laguna. Lady Laguna, mare in form, but yeah.
Much harder race than that. So you want $7 to $10 for him, I think. Would you be surprised to see him win?
I wouldn't be surprised, but he's not in my top 4.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if he's in my top 4 or not at this stage, but happy to let him go around. And the other one I want to talk about, who's a bit of an interesting inclusion into this race, is a mare we're seeing for the first time in 2024 in secret.
What the hell do you do with her?
You can't do anything with her, really.
Like, I have no idea what to do with her.
What was the big hold up?
Like,
has there been any dialogue around this horse at all?
I haven't heard anything, but to be fair, I haven't been looking.
I haven't explicitly looked, but you would imagine that, for a horse of her profile, what's she won? 2 Group 1s, 3 Group 1s?
2 Group 1. So she's had, how's this for a stat? 6 runs at Group 1 level. She's only missed the placings once. 2 wins, 1 second, 2 thirds.
And we chuck an Everest on top of that. She ran 4th in the Everest, and it was probably the run of the race.
Yeah.
I'm happy to take her on because we don't know what was wrong with her, and she's first up over 1,300 metres, whereas for mine, she's a 1,200 metre horse.
Yes.
Yep. Maybe as she's gotten a bit older, she wants a little bit further, but she doesn't give me that feeling.
Whenever she's been out to 1,400, she's failed. Failed might be tough.
Her class has gotten her.
Yeah. Like, she hasn't won over 1,400 metres.
No, she hasn't.
So...
Can she come out and win? Yes. Will I have anything on her? No.
Yeah, she's in that same bracket. I think I want to go for the tried and tested kind of animals who are up and coming. One of those is Antino. $11 is a good price for him. Barrier stinks, though.
Barrier stinks. I was on Antino last start, resuming 1,200 metres in a completely different field. Right, and they also went hell for leather up front, and he was just trailing him, and it set up perfectly for him. But I'm going to have him as my on-top selection, Antino. Despite the gate, and despite the fact that 54 kilos in a Stradbroke he's going to have, he's probably going to start favourite if he runs top 4 here. He definitely will, and 54 kilos on his back. Irrespective of where he draws, like he's going to be a red hot chance in the Stradbroke, and he's probably going to be my horse, right? I just think he's a horse who is so lightly raced, and with how well he did last year over the Brisbane Winter Carnival, he's come back a better horse to do that first up over a not favourable 1,200 metres. He gets to Eagle Farm, 1,300 metres, more up his alley, and he's the one on the up who, you know that he's being screwed down for this. This is his prep. Like the Stradbroke's his grand final, but Tony Gollins kept him on ice specifically for the Winter Carnival. So you know he's going to be here ready to rock and roll. I can't say the same for pretty much any of these.
Yep.
Like I wish I win. Can he win? 100%. But I don't want to dive into him when I can get triple the price with Antino.
Yep.
I wish I wins a better horse. Like I don't doubt that. But he's from that gate. He doesn't have J-Mac on. And with all due respect to Luke Nolan, he's no J-Mac. And if he got an absolute peach last start and he couldn't get the job done over what I think is probably a better distance for him at this stage of his career, 1,200 metres. So I think I wish I wins the one to beat. He's clearly the second pick for me, but I just think there's just something not right for me backing him in that. Do you know who I think can run a bold race at a big price who's going to be leading? It's Tuvalu.
Yeah.
I think he can run a bold race. He's a tough horse and he's going to be hard to get past. Does he want further than this? Yeah, but he resumed at the Bull with 61 kilos on his back and spanked him. Clearly so much better than them.
Yeah.
And he deserves the right to be in this race and I think he'll run a big race. So they're the three, and then the other one who's just got to go in my numbers because I'm a big fan. But I think she's not going to be primed, ready to go first up, but she'll still run a bold race. Is Magic Time.
Yep.
1,300 metres. That and 14's her jam for me. She's going to run a big race, and she's probably going to be the one prominent as well. So Antino on top for me. Not awfully confident, but $11. I'm happy to have a throw at the stunts because if he improves on what he did first up, he's going to be in the finish. I just think he is. Hate the gate. Shit gate. Dog shit.
But the price isn't.
But yeah. The price isn't. Yeah.
And we discussed this last time about I wish I win. Like, he's not a betting proposition for me anymore. Like, you can have your $4, you can have your $3.50, you can have probably $3.50 at $3 on the day. You can have that. I'm not diving into that.
When's he won in the last 12 months?
He hasn't. TJ, last win.
Yeah, right. Okay. Further back than that, in the last 18 months, he's won on a bog track in a TJ where he's a huge price, and he's won a Golden Eagle at a huge price because he failed the start before in one of those handicap races, the two-rack.
Yep.
I would imagine. So if he fails here and then goes to a Stradbroke as a top weight and he's like double figures, that's when you bet on him, honestly.
Yeah.
That's when you bet on him.
100%. And it's like in a TJ, in a Golden Eagle, you'd hope to assume that the pace is on.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be on here.
I don't think so.
much.
And I don't think that suits him.
No, I think he's just a superior athlete, and for the superior athletes to have their best chance of winning, it needs to be run fast. Who knows? We're probably going to come out and it runs like
He beats him by 3 lengths, yeah.
But I just had a look here. I'm not a big Vlad Jurek, the jockey on Antino, not a big follower of Vlad's work. Last Group 1 win, 2015 in the Underwood.
He's been plying his trade in Singapore for a very long time. And the only reason why he's back is because obviously Singapore Racing's finishing. He's a good jockey.
Okay.
He's a good jockey.
Yeah, clearly. How many wins? 2,117 wins at a 13% strike rate. Very good. So 3,171 days between Group 1 wins for him.
Yeah.
Nearly a decade.
Yep.
God bless Vlad.
Australian Group 1s at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vlad Jurek, who sounds Russian.
Yeah.
Let's go. On the I think the horse is like Singaporean owned or something like that. Antino, the owner's Singapore. I don't know. But anyway.
There you go.
So who's your on top selection?
Magic Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 weeks between runs. You know, she'll have that residual fitness. She has that tune-up trial as well, which was good enough for me.
Graham Beggs, he's a smart trainer, isn't he?
He is, yeah. And she'd be right in the conversation of our best sprinting mare in Australia right now. Like, obviously with Imperatriz out of the picture.
Yeah, she's so good. And she's one of those ones for me who I think the 1,200 metres is just a little bit too sharp for her. So, yeah, if you place her well, she can jag a couple more for sure, Group 1s. And I certainly think she can win this.
100%. Other ones in my numbers, I wish I wins there or thereabouts, of course. Antino was my second selection, so I think he's definitely in this. But the one at a huge price, who I mentioned to you in the green room, gelded first time, is Osipenko. Now, you might look at me going like, why the hell would you throw this horse in? Sure. Mate, first up, if this would have been in the Winks in the spring, he was only beaten just over a length to Fangirl. Over the 1,400 meters, maybe the ultimate gear change is the thing that he needs.
It's the ultimate gear change. We saw Tannhauser last start, who
mid prep,
like he just couldn't win. Like he just could not win. He gets gelded and he absolutely brains them.
Yeah,
including Autumn Angel. Was given a peach again by J-Mac and he's on this week, but. I have no doubt in my mind that Osipenko will come back a better horse. Is that good enough to run top 4 here? Maybe not, but he's 50 to 1.
Yeah, exactly. Like Espiona, she could win at $8.50, but
she's not a betting proposition for me, mate.
No, until she figures it out, like
or gets on her right leg,
or bursting the girls.
Yeah,
like that's the thing with her.
She could brain him in Tiara.
Wouldn't she? Like when she was dominating in the spring, albeit she was still beating up on like a Tissue and Magic Time at times, but like it was against her own sex as well. So she still hasn't proved it at the tippity top level, even though she's run sensational races.
She ran really well last start, despite the fact that she wanted to lay out massively. The only other horse that we haven't spoken about that I wanted to mention is Freedom Rally on the quick backup. Bit too soon for him this race, but Tony Gollan wants to get him into a Stradbroke. He's a smarty, Freedom Rally. He did awfully well to nearly win last start. He had no favours in the run. So, yeah, watch for him coming home. Hopefully he gets into a Stradbroke. He's smarty.
61st in entry, Freedom Rally, 51 kilos he's got at the moment.
So he needs to, run top 3 in this?
You'd say so?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, race 8 is the Queensland Derby. Brought to you by Team Red. 2,400 metres, Group 1 for the 3-year-old set weights. Tannhauser, $4.20, bruh. But then you have the likes of Autumn Angel, who is $2.50. Barrier 1 again. Mark Zara, I kind of mapped her with getting one of the shittest runs of the race. Like 3 or 4 back, 5 back on the fence, just... Eagle Farm fence has been off.
Like, it has been.
Where's she going to be?
It has been. She's got a tough run. Tannhauser maps to get a better race than her. But I can't have him. He was so good last start after the gelding, which is fantastic for him. It was his second career win. And I just don't trust that he can repeat that and better that, which I think he needs to. And with all due respect to the hottest jockey in Australia, Nash Rawiller, who can produce an all-timer when he needs to. I'd rather have J-Mac on because Nash probably hasn't been riding too hot, I'd say, over the last few weeks.
That's a fair statement.
And that's the only reason why I've gone Autumn Angel. She's a big smarty. Like I probably disrespected her when she ran in the Australian Oaks, is it called? Against Orchestral and Zardozi. Even though I saw her race the week before with like 80,000 kilos on her back and she nearly stole it, and that's the biggest green light run I've ever seen, and I was on the entire prep. I just disrespected her a bit. I think she's an out-and-out dour stayer, Autumn Angel. And against the boys, no worries. Like, she showed me enough last start. She's very short, so I probably won't be betting. But Mark Zara, in a race like this, I can just see us after the race saying, how the fuck did he get her there from gate 1? He's got that in him, and I can see that happening on the weekend. So she's my top selection, but would not be surprised to see Tannhauser win. And, like, there's a few up-and-comers here, but, like, I'm happy to give him a bit of a wide berth. Like, why is Peter Moody – he doesn't need to run Autumn Angel here.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to, but he knows the horse is flying. So he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm a Queenslander. I want to win the Queensland Derby with this thing. Fair.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
I am going outside the top 2 in the market for a big time roughie. The Victorian Victim got me on the phone and said, "Hey, did you see the run of this thing?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And that's number 5, Navy King, for Craig Williams on board. This thing absolutely fucking brained him at Flemington. So beat Sabin by 1.5 lengths, but beat the rest of them by 7. So second run in a row at 2,000 metres was the trick. And through the line, this thing was still putting lengths on him. I think the 2,400 metres, for these derbies in particular, you just want something that can run it firstly. And this horse never run at the distance. I think it's just going to be so cherry ripe for him. $21. I'm happy to have something small on him each way. You're getting a better price for him to place than, especially if we think Tannhauser is potentially going to fail. So, and if Autumn Angel gets terrible luck, that brings him right into calculations. 1 by 3 all day. Number 5, Navy King.
What about Son of Deck?
Son of
Coming from a 1,700 metre race, the benchmark.
That was my worry for Deck. Barrier 21 stinks too.
It does.
Like
stink.
I can get that whiff from here, but a Scone, the opening race at Scone, 1,700 metres to a 2,400 metres, tough ask.
It really is. Do you know anything about the Kiwi horses in this race? First Innings and Moonlight Magic.
Not too much, you know. There is some form around like Orchestral and Solidify as well, who came out here and looked a good thing beaten in the JJ or the race prior to that last year, but I don't think that's the A1 form.
I don't think so. So yeah, I'm Autumn Angel on top for me. One other horse, Son of Ace High, Bullets High, number 9, trained by Joe Pride. Just want to shout out to Ace High.
Yeah.
Memorable Vic Derby winner back in 2017.
Yeah. And his seed is just racing everywhere.
You love to see it.
Yeah, you do. You really do. Warmonger, if you like your South Australian form, $8.50. Best closing splits. Can run on a bit though.
Gate 23, even with Blake on, tall order.
Very tall. All right, let's go to race 3. The Premier's Cup, 2,400 metres, Group 3. Now Solino just starts his Brisbane Cup prep here.
Yeah, he does. He needs further than this. Drifters up, but like he'll be flashing home for a nice 4th or 5th.
I'd say 6th.
Yeah, something like that. He's not interested until he gets to 3,200 metres. So
Nash knows that.
yeah, I wouldn't be. Oh, I'd love to see Hot Nash back on because he knows Nash is like, I'm back on this thing for the Brisbane Cup 100%.
Just all right. What lane's this one doing? You know, he's just figuring out the lanes for later in the day.
100%. So yeah, Solino, happy to watch him go around. I'm with the Paul Pruska thing, Captain Envious. He ran in that race that the map.
Andrew Ransom?
Yes, won. He ran 5th, but it was a close 5th, and I think that's probably the best form for this. And he's a bit of a smarty, Captain Envious when you start getting out to these sort of distances. So sticky gate, but not too worried about that. Mickey D can weave some magic. He's double figures, so he's the one for me. The other one I was looking at was your old mate, number 9, Allegron, with Björn Baker now. He was working late. He was working late in the Spirit Ridge race the other week in Doomben. Like, he needs to get out over to this distance, obviously. But, yeah, he wouldn't surprise me either, Allegron.
No, not Allegron. Mate, as soon as they leave Godolphin, there's no point. 0 point. Mate, he's a shock as a bet here. Got back on the winners list 2 starts ago on the heavy. Does need a bit more rain to come to show his best.
He does,
but,
yeah.
2,400 metres, I think that will suit him. He's been racing really well in his last 3 starts, so I'm happy to take confidence that he's racing his best. And Jamie on 4 starts, 1 win for 2 seconds, so she can get the best out of this horse as well. Can't really understand the price of Goulburn because that horse, second up syndrome maybe, but like was beaten 7 lengths into 4th by He's a Shocker on that heavy track. So, and he has won on a heavy prior, so unsure where that horse is at. Need to see it. Spirit Ridge, top weight.
Can win, even as a top weight.
Yeah, he can win. Now, Lord Mayor's Cup, devastated that the Royal Champion's not here. Was really looking forward to seeing him this weekend, but that's okay. We have another European here. Number 3, Adelaide River, sold by Coolmore. So this horse is fascinating. Let me run through his stats. So, ex-Coolmore horse in 2 Group 1 placings at the 2,400 metres. Now, they are in the, I don't know, I can't remember the first one, but one of them was in the Irish Derby.
Mm-hmm.
So, a horse by the name of Auguste Rodin won that, the Epsom Derby winner.
Yep.
So, hell of a horse that he has form behind. Also, he defeated Valiant King by about 6 to 8 lengths. Now, that horse was being talked about in Melbourne Cup circles around the Melbourne last year. So, yeah, he ran second to Auguste Rodin in the Irish Derby by about 1.5 lengths. And that horse, if you remember, everyone was foaming at the mouth over the ride that Ryan Moore gave that horse in the Breeders' Cup early this year.
Mm.
Like, he was basically 6 lengths off him at the corner, snuck up on the fence and stole all of them and stole the race. But this horse is really, really something. Lost by about 8 lengths in the Epsom Derby, but King of Steel ran second, really close second that day by about half a length. And that's the horse that Via Sistina just lost to in the Champions Stakes. So the form is like kind of stacking up here, right? Now, a couple of things of not concern. The tick for him, he's a leader. He's basically the pacemaker for Coolmore, basically, for what I've seen. So you know where he'll be. Sticky barrier, 1,800 metres, Q22 is definitely the grand final. But the most concerning thing, and where he's not a betting proposition for me, and he has been gelded since, so it might be one of the reasons for it, mate, he holds his head like Espiona.
Really?
Lays into the left and did it both on his Melbourne leg and his Sydney leg. So you see him in that Irish Derby, he's like on the fence and he's like just kind of like going towards the grandstand.
Yucky.
So I need to see him do it first for me.
Yucky.
So yeah, Adelaide River, barrier 16, $5.50 with the good people at Ned's. Letting him go through to keeper this weekend.
Interesting. First emergency, shock him over. Horse that the victim found first up and was probably the win of the day, I'd say, resuming over 1,400 metres. Jumps up to 1,800 metres. So that's a bit of a jump, and it's a big ask for a benchmark horse to come into a race like this. And he's a $3.20 favourite with Ned's, but I want to be with him. He gets Willow on. Who did Willow ride him last start?
No, I reckon Craig would have been up here.
Yeah, he would have been. Dean Yendall rode him last start, but Craig rode him before that. And he's a horse on the rise for me, shock him over. So if he gets a start, which I'd imagine he would, like as a first emergency, he's the one I want to be with, because if he wins this and then goes to a Q22 and wins that, like he's going to be right up there in Caulfield Cup markets, probably favourite, let's be honest.
Yeah.
With see what I see. People, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Like, that win was simply outstanding.
That's a stakes level win. That's a horse destined for stakes grade, because you don't just loop a field and brain them like that over 1,400 metres first up.
Because the typical benchmark 100 winners that we see are your Jimmy the Bears that just like limp over the line.
Young Werter.
But this thing, brained him by 3 lengths where he had no right to do it.
No right.
First up, over 1,400 metres, not his jam. Mate, he's one of the horses I cannot wait to see. Hope he gets a run.
We know he's going to get better out of it further. He's by Shocking, who won a Melbourne Cup. Same sire as on Thunderstruck. Same shire as the one you were just talking about in the previous race.
He's a shocker.
He's a shocker. So many shockers around. He had a shock, won a sprint race last week. Anyway.
You know who I'm looking forward to seeing this weekend? Who? In this race? Our old mate, who I don't think we've ever seen in the flesh. Number 5, Lions Rule. For original listeners of this podcast, one of our favourites on this podcast. Now, he's a rising 6-year-old, nearly a 7-year-old now, but it will be fantastic to see him in the flesh.
It will be. I wonder,
Shake his
I wonder
hoof.
if he'll be fat as a bus. Yeah. Always so fat.
Third up, but he was good at Scone.
Yeah, he was good.
Like, he's not the worst. I might have to have a little $5 on him just for old time's sake.
Do you know who I need to have a bloody word with? Cleveland.
Oh,
Because of that night at the Valley. When he beat Van der Cleo, would have won an absolute mozza. Interesting to see Converge in this race.
oh, mate, and he got scratched from a 1,800 metre or 2,000 metre race in Rose Hill as well.
So this time last year, he was running in the Kingsford Smith.
Mate, I think he was the favourite or second favourite in the Stradbroke last year.
Yeah, bizarre.
And I reckon he would have started favourite the year before.
Yeah, bizarre. Yeah, it's an interesting little race. Knight's Choice can run a big race too at 13s, form around Gringotts. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Good race. This is a genuine Group 3. Yeah. You know, when we see Group 3s and it's like, this is absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
This is a genuine Group 3.
Yeah, because you know why? Because the likes of Lions Raw and even the likes of like Luncy's and Just Folk and those sort of horses, like this is probably their grand final, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they're not aiming towards a Q22.
No.
It's like, and that's where it makes a race like this much better.
100%.
So the size produce. Now, I was not expecting to see broadsiding again.
No, I was not at all.
I was shocked when I saw him.
I really was. Because I remember seeing him in JJ markets and I was thinking, he's not going to go there. He's done his job.
Especially Godolphin.
Yeah.
Like, they usually look after him.
So he must have been just bucking around in the paddock.
That's the thing.
Or they're just like, this thing is just a freak. Like, let's get him back out there and win another Group 1 with him.
Wow. So, and if he comes out, wins the TJ, like you're talking champion
JJ.
2-year-old.
Yeah.
You're talking champion 2-year-old
Really
stuff. Who would have thought?
Certainly not I.
Well, we're eventually right because we thought the Colts were better than the Phillies.
I think we exchanged a few texts after he won the, what is it, the Champagne, the 1,600 metre one?
Yeah.
About the price that he was in Cox Plate markets and like way too short. And he still is too short. Ridiculous.
Was he, what, 15s-ish?
Maybe even shorter, like 11s. Like, it's just absurd.
Disgusting.
But watching him win the Champagne, like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, he looks like a 3-year-old who could run at a Cox Plate. Like, I genuinely believe that about him.
Too darn hot?
Too darn hot. Yeah, so he's interesting because he produces horses who do all types of things.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I think it just depends. And he's obviously shown as a 2-year-old that he's...
Well, street cry mare, so...
Well, there you go, yeah. So, broadsiding for me can definitely win the race, but I sort of want to just watch this race. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like him resuming when you know the JJ's the grand final. Obviously, he must be going well, otherwise they wouldn't be running him. He draws the car park, but he gets J Car on. So I'm just a bit like, And there's other horses in this race that I think can run well. Number 2, Bitter Creek, looks to have a lot of talent. One last start. He's by Schnitzel, so draws a car park with Blake Shin on. So I want to see him go around. He's at $9.50 with Neds. Number 7, Stewie Kendrick's horse, Can't Recall One. He's a grey gelding at 13s. Won really nicely in his first 2 career starts, and that was back in March. And they were like, let's just pull up stumps because we want to run him in a JJ. He's by Reliable Man. Reliable Man won a Queen Elizabeth originally from overseas. So we know this guy's going to stretch out over to a mile. He's $13 and he's a smart-looking horse. Local hope. And then Angel Capital could definitely bounce back, but probably want to see it. And he's at $8. So there's a few here that I'm sort of like, well, I just want to see this race to see how it goes, and then it'll make the JJ picture a lot clearer. If broadsiding comes out and just brains them, it's just like, well, what price is he starting a JJ? Like $1.80?
Yeah.
Maybe shorter.
If not shorter.
So, yeah, probably a watch race for me.
Yeah. Can throw up a roughie. Sofrado won this at about $12 and yours truly was on, which was fantastic. But, mate, Sofrado won it last year. She's a belter the year before.
Yep.
Strasbourg 4 years ago. Lean Mean Machine 5 years ago.
It was a funny horse, Lean Mean Machine. I think I backed him in like a...
Oakley Plate or something?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good horse.
Melody Bell the year before that.
Melody Bell won this.
So these are pretty Zoostar won this race.
Do you know what this is, mate? It's a Group 2. This is a genuine Group 2 race.
Yeah, it's a great race. So, yeah, don't like some of those previous winners are better than slipper winners. You know what I mean?
100% they are.
Yeah. So, El Morzillo was the runner-up behind Bitter Creek and ran the best final 600 metres of that race. Eagle Farm does get back a bit. Eagle Farm will suit better than what Doomben will. Before that was only length and a half away from Anisa and like a length away from Lady of Camelot. So like this filly is like the best of the girls in my opinion. $6 for her. Like I'm happy to be in her court. Barry 4, Craig on. Like hopefully Craig doesn't overthink it because Jamie's got a hell of a task. Like they're not going to go forward on broadsiding. They can't. Why would they?
Couldn't possibly.
The grand final again is, 2 weeks away? There's no point.
There'll be a bit of give in the track, but Eagle Farm still rock hard. And we saw broadsiding Brainham on a really heavy deck. I hope he comes out and wins because it's good. It's good for a 3-year-old colt in the upcoming season, right? He could be an Autumn Sun-esque type operator, which is great. But I don't have a lot like $3.30 confidence about him, if that makes sense.
I do.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
I meant to say, yeah, I understand. That does make sense.
We're not getting married, mate. Fucking hell.
The Fred Best Classic, race 6. This is a cracker. 1,400 metres, Group 3 for the 3-year-olds. Oh, there is about 5 winning chances here.
Oh, there is 100%. And I didn't know where to start.
No. Let's have a look at the speed map, eh? So Schwartz, the Hawkesbury Guineas winner, you might remember Hawaii 5-0, and that's the first time that we saw that horse, and he is one of the biggest horses I've ever seen.
One of the biggest horses I've ever seen. Can't wait for his progeny just because we're going to be so fucking massive.
So he won the Hawkesbury Guineas, and then he won this convincingly. So he will probably go forward with someone like the Instructor, bases loaded. Stapati out wide might go forward as well. Moravia. So I think there'll be plenty of speed on here. Golden Decade goes forward. Julie. So, yeah, I don't know where to start. Help me out here.
Oh, I was looking at this race and I kept changing my mind because there is so many genuine winning chances. And I think the horse that I think the mark is going to be gravitating towards is number 17, Steffi Magnetica, because she absolutely bolted home and arguably could have fought out the finish in the Doom and 10,000. And that's weight for age against our best sprinters. And she's a little 3-year-old filly, and this is only her 12th start. You know where she's going to be in the running, but she's got Tommy Berry. There looks to be a stack of speed. She could come home and win this, definitely Steffi Magnetica, and she's got, 49.5 kilos in a Stradbroke and be a live chance in that. So definite winning chance for mine. The one that I feel like she could win this at a big price for me is number 15, Abounding. She's $14 with Neds at the moment, and I feel like she's run well at 1,000 metres. She's finished 5th. That's not her jam. 3 weeks, second up. Comes home really nicely over 1,350 metres. Again, she's sort of building towards something. Like she's got a win in her this prep. I'm not 100% sure if it's this race, but it would not shock me. And she's the first leg of the quaddie, has to go in at 14s.
Mate, so she basically jumps 2 furlong to 1,350 metres at Doomben from the 1,000 metres at
Of course
Eagle
she's going to be
Farm.
busted up late. You know
Well,
what I mean?
that's the thing. It's like she back-to-back runs of 1,400 metres basically. She's absolutely a bet. And she drew Barry 12 of 12 there. She draws 3 of God knows how many here. She is 100% a bet here.
Has to be.
Has to be. $14. She's absolutely flying.
She is. So she's the one I can't let her go around without something on. Abounding, which is what I thought when I was looking at this race. Whereas Steffi Magnetica, if I don't get on her and she wins, I'm like, oh, okay, man. And Stepati as well. Like he's 11s and he's drawing the car park, but Johnny Allen's riding like dog shit at the moment. with all due respect, like if Bro can't RNP Adelaide, what can he do at the moment? If he can't even do that, what sort of form is he in? And from that wide gate, I don't know where he gets to in the running. I want to see him run well, but I couldn't possibly when I'm getting a better price for a bounding. Corniche is the chances don't stop. Like Corniche was brilliant last start. Like he needed every inch of J-Mac's penis to get him home, but
He's
but
half a length, it turns out.
Yeah.
That's how long it is.
Exactly.
But his pattern just scares me.
It does. He has a bit of a think about it too. He's still got his nuts, Corniche.
Yeah.
Schwartz and Seluyai could still win. Schwartz with J Car on is a massive tick because you know where he's going to be in the running, and J Car on a leader with those soft hands, delightful. But I think they just handed him the Hawkesbury Guineas on a platter.
Yeah.
I think they just handed it to him and J Mac was on. He was like, okay, I'll just. Whereas I don't think that's going to happen this time.
No.
So I'm going to be betting on a bounding, but if I'm doing the quaddie, which of course I will be on the week. This is almost a bloody field job.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. You just pray that Steffi Magnetica and Corniche, the first 2 or 3 in the market, don't win.
You know who you could make a case for is even someone like number 10 Snow Patrol.
100% you could.
He was really solid. Unlucky. He beat Southport Tycoon the run before the Australian Guineas, over 1,400 metres. So they tested him out to the 2,000, didn't work, freshened up here. That Blake Shin on, crazy things have happened for that horse.
Roland High could jump out of the ground. I couldn't
my
possibly.
God.
I couldn't possibly, but she could jump out of the ground.
I know. But, how many runs has she had? Oh, okay. I was going to say on a big track. But because her best run has been at Flemington, but she was at the Sunshine Coast, but heavy 10, probably not her go. So, she could be one, but I don't know. I need to see it.
Need to see it from her.
Vlad on.
I could be really good friends with Vlad by the end of this carnival.
I know.
Really good friends with him.
Yeah, so there is, I think there'll be a couple of Ned Samarace multis going on here. But a bounding will be the lock. She'll be the one, top 4. You'll get about $2.50 for her, I reckon, top 4.
She's got a win in her this prep.
100% she does.
And I feel like this is probably the best opportunity.
Yeah, because
where's she going to head to? A Stradbroke?
Well, she's nominated for a Stradbroke, so a bounding is 79th in entry, 49.5 kilos. So she'd obviously, this is probably exempt from the Stradbroke, I'd say.
It is.
So win and you're in sort of stuff. But, so yeah, I think we talked about her in our futures. She would have been about $26 from memory. So if we had a look at those, but for futures markers for the Stradbroke. But anyway, the Helen Coghlan Stakes, 1,200 metres listed for the fillies and mares. For a listed race, this is sensational. This is better than some of the Group 2s, Group 3s they're rolling around.
This is the minimum quality that we expect us Queenslanders. We're coming into Origin. We're not going to serve up any dross.
No.
Other states need to take note. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
100%.
Take note.
Better the carnival here or what?
Better the carnival, cool Volant.
Mate. She's a star.
She's a star, I think. And geez, doesn't the form read well? That's the thing that stood out to me is I could not possibly let her go around without me when she's run 4th in a leader bias track, 1,000 guineas over 1,600 metres, and Jolly Star, Komochi, and Skybird are the ones that have beaten her.
Yeah. And she didn't run out the mile.
No.
And she still hung on pretty gallantly, And that win prior at Caulfield, that is one of the best rides I've ever seen by Blake Shin.
Blake Shin on. Gate 7. Yeah, she's a bet. She's $4.80. She was bigger. She was a bigger price this morning. If the market starts coming like drifters, I'm telling you now, because we're going to tell you after the fact on our review podcast on Sunday after she's won this race. We're going to talk about the fact that she gets jammed into the market, and we got on before $4, and you got on at 3s. As soon as she starts coming in, drifters, get on board the train, choo choo. because Cool Volant is winning this.
Mate, so
Mike Maroney's just come out of hospital.
I know.
Like, it just, you know, it just...
Now, she's further up the order of entry, of course, because she's a bloody star. She's 54th in the order of entry, 49.5 kilos. So she wins this. She probably gets a little penalty. This might be exempt as well. I'm not sure. But, yeah, that's her grand final, 2 weeks away. So she has to run well here to get in. Like, she's going to be fully wound up, rather. But, can she win first up? We saw her win first up.
We saw her win first up.
Should
we see her win first up?
I'm not going to lie to you, Drifters. When I was doing the form of that race, she went straight past me. Saw her in the mounting yard. I'm like, what is that thing? She looked unbelievable at Moonee Valley. So if she looks half as good as that, she'll be a bet here, 100%. So, Cool Volant, Barrier 7, Blake Shin. Just getting me.
Look, it goes to show how good of a race the Stradbroke is. When you've got a filly like her who's won a Group 3 and won a Group 2 and almost placed in a Group 1, and she's 54th in the order of entry, that's the Stradbroke handicap for you, Drifters.
100%. Now, Comrade Rosa.
She's the one that you just for a little bit of insurance, you chuck her in the quadding.
Yeah. Won the race last year as well. And she won twice during the Eagle Farm Carnival, you remember. Won this and then won the last against Opal Ridge where everyone was on.
Yeah, including me.
I might have had her in a really nice Quinella, actually. I couldn't lose. Honestly, couldn't lose on Stradbroke Day last year. God, it was good.
It was ridiculous.
God, it was good.
Ridiculous day. And then on top of that, Salino at like double figures is just unbelievable.
Yeah. God, that was good. 4.5 lengths she was beaten to the likes of Antino. Now, that's probably a superior form line to the rest of these, you know what I mean? But, you know, Cool Volant's getting 1.5 kilos off her. And you're basically getting the same price. Yeah, she's easily a bet here. Only bad luck bet gets her beat. Only bad luck.
Don't say the word. Don't say the M word.
No.
Because, you know, it's been dropped very sparingly on this podcast. Pretty good strike rate.
I can't even remember.
I think the last time we did was GG, Gypsy Goddess.
Right.
Dropped the big M word on her and she ran home like a moral.
We would have dropped it for Marzo. Marzo the moral.
Yeah, we probably did for Marzo. Who else has been a good friend of the podcast?
Oh, what was that thing that won the stayer for Chris Waller?
Oh,
it was him and Marzo.
Just alternate weeks as well. It was glorious.
Yeah,
we always had a lock.
Yeah,
what was that thing called?
Because it won that race.
It won like the
Mornington Cup.
Was it the Mornington Cup?
Yeah, because you get a ticket into the Caulfield Cup. Crystal Pegasus.
We absolutely RNP'd. Like that was like a 2 or 3 month period where we just RNP'd. Yeah. Those were the days.
But the Eagle Farm Carnival was good to us last year.
Yeah.
So here's to, we probably said Giga Kick in the
and he started black odds, which was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was $2, I'm pretty sure, which is just free money.
Yeah. Without a fight. He was one of them as well. All right. Cannot wait for this weekend. It's going to be so good.
A fantastic day of racing.
Yeah. So, you know, say we'll be there from race 3-ish, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. No rush. But yeah, can't wait. Going to be good stuff.
Eagle Farm, let's go.